Welcome, listener, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into a really interesting security finding, something pretty crucial if you're working with modern application frameworks. We're focusing on a specific authorization bypass vulnerability.
That's right, and we're zoning in on CVE 2025-41248. It's an authorization bypass affecting Spring Security. And look, this isn't just, another Patch Tuesday item. It really highlights a critical interaction point in modern app security.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that a bit. What exactly is CVE 2025-41248? What kind of bypass are we actually dealing with here?
So at its core, this CVE points to a flaw in how Spring Security's annotation detection mechanism works. Sometimes it just doesn't correctly resolve security annotations on methods. This means those really important directives like at pre-authorize and other method security annotations, they can effectively be bypassed.
Bypass entirely.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and what's the specific scenario? Like, where does this failure happen?
It's quite specific, actually. The issue really shows up on methods within type hierarchies. Think complex class structures that involve a parameterized supertype. And the key bit is when that supertype uses unbounded generics. That particular combination, well, it can lead straight to an authorization bypass. Essentially, it fails to enforce the security controls you intended.
Right. Unbounded generics. Okay, so it's not necessarily a typo in the code, but how the framework itself interprets that structure.
Exactly. It's an interpretation issue under specific conditions.
So for you listening, how can you quickly figure out if your applications might be, susceptible? What's the first check?
Well, the main thing to look for is if you're actively using Spring Security's at enable methods security feature. That annotation, that's really the key indicator to check for in your configurations. If you've got that enabled, you need to look closer.
Okay, add enable method security. Got it. And conversely, when can someone sort of breathe a sigh of relief, at least about this specific CVE?
Yeah, good question. You're generally not affected if you're not using an enable method security. Simple as that. Or even if you are using it, if you just don't happen to use security annotations on methods within those generic superclasses or interfaces we talked about, understanding that narrow scope is pretty crucial for an accurate assessment.
Right, so it's quite targeted. Okay, let's talk practical steps. What are the specific versions of Spring Security involved here? And what are the immediate mitigation actions?
Sure. The affected versions are Spring Security 6.4.0 right through 6.4.9, and also the 6.5 branch, specifically 6.5.0 through 6.5.3.
Okay, 6.4 and 6.5 ranges.
Yep. And the primary fixes, well, straightforward. You need to upgrade. Users on the 6.4.x track should move to version 6.4.0. That's the OSS release. And for those on 6.5.x, the target is version 6.5.4, also the OSS release.
Upgrade is always the preferred path, yeah. But are there any alternative steps, if an immediate upgrade just isn't feasible for some teams?
Yes, there is a workaround. If upgrading right away isn't an option, you can mitigate by making sure all your secured target methods, that they're explicitly declared directly in their own target class. Basically, don't rely on inheriting them from those tricky generic supertypes for the security annotation. It's also important to note this CVE was published alongside CVE 2025-41249. So it's probably wise to review the mitigation steps for that one too, just in case they're related for your setup.
Good point. Check both.
Yeah.
And here's something really interesting you mentioned earlier. This wasn't found by the core Spring team initially, right?
That's correct. It was discovered and then responsibly reported independently by an anonymous individual, which honestly really underscores the critical role of ethical disclosure and just the wider community in maintaining the security of the whole ecosystem.
Absolutely. A great reminder of the value of that external input. So stepping back a bit, what does this all mean for us as we're trying to navigate securing these complex modern applications?
Well, I think this deep dive into CVE 2025-41248 serves as a really potent reminder. It shows that even seemingly subtle interactions within framework features, things like generics combined with security annotations, they can lead to critical authorization bypasses. It really reinforces the need for, let's say, meticulous review of how security controls are actually interpreted and enforced, especially in these complex type hierarchies.
Yeah, it's not just about applying the control, but verifying it's effective in context. So we definitely encourage you, the listener, to review your Spring Security configurations and dependencies right away. Patch if you can.
And this really does raise a broader question, I think, beyond just applying the immediate patches, which is crucial, of course. How can we strategically design and maybe audit our applications to proactively prevent these kinds of, nuanced logical flaws, especially within widely used complex security frameworks? It's definitely something for you to ponder as you look at your own systems.